talking about how to use your body language to clearly communicate with your horse. So as you can see right now, I have what I call passive body language. You know, my shoulders are dropped, my stick is down, my hands are dropped. You know, I'm very relaxed, and she is kind of mirroring that. You know, she's just standing here, she's not fidgeting, she's not getting anxious, she's just kind of waiting around until I ask her to do something. When we want the horse to do a maneuver or to start lunging, change of gait, whatnot, we want to kind of be a little bit more maybe intentional with our body language, a little more energetic. You know, you're going to open your shoulders up, you're going to stand up a little bit taller, your hands are going to come up, and it's a good thing to practice changing that body language on and off, because if you always have that kind of passive body language, your horse is probably going to be pretty slow, unresponsive. You know, it's going to take a lot to get them going forward. And then on the other side, if you always have kind of this, you know, like hot, energetic body language, your horse is probably never going to have much of like an off switch. They might be a little bit more antsy. They might not want to stand still as much. So really pay attention to that body language when you're working with your horse. And then also your breathing. When you get kind of anxious and nervous, you generally take short, shallow breaths, which your horse is definitely going to feed off of. So maintaining that proper breath and breathing deep from your belly is super important, especially when you get into situations where you might be a little bit more anxious and nervous, and you don't want to feed any more into your horse than you already are, maybe. So what I always tell people is your horse should mirror your step. So I'm going to ask her to yield her hips here, just like I normally would. I'm going to pick up, and she's kind of mirroring my steps, right? Which is exactly what we want her to do. Now I'm going to ask her to do it, but I'm going to walk kind of slow, a little bit less intentional, and we're going to see what happens. So I'm kind of taking tiny steps here. You know, she's not real smooth about it. There's kind of a little stall there. You know, and that's where I see a lot of people come into problems is they get to the point where the horse just kind of stops, and then they just kind of stop. Whereas I'll show you here a little bit more of an intentional, maybe energetic way of asking her to do it. You can see how much snappier that kind of was than the other two. Now the fun thing about this is you can kind of play with some different things. You know, I might go in kind of slow, but then I might pick up the pace a little bit, and I might go slow again. And then again, when I stop, my shoulders come down, everything kind of relaxes. So this is can be a hard thing for some people to master, because some people might be a little bit naturally more on the passive side. Some people might be a little bit more on the energetic, kind of intentional side, but we want to be able to be right in the middle. We want to be able to raise that energy up and then bring it right back down. And that's going to give our horse super clear communication of what we're asking. You know, there'll be times when maybe my horse isn't paying attention and I need them to be a little bit snappier and really kind of get their attention back to me, which is where I might really bring that energy level up and then bring it right back down. You know, when I want to see if my horse is paying attention, I'll kind of raise and lower it, up and down, up and down. it's a really good practice for our horses, which is going to be the next thing we get into, is getting them under a little bit of pressure. And what I mean by pressure is excuse me, putting them in situations where they might get a little bit uncomfortable. Like a hotter, more sensitive type horse, when you raise those energy levels up, they might get a little bit worried and quick and kind of anxious. So that to me would be a little bit of a hole in their training, where we want to be able to have those energy levels come up and them understand that it's okay, everything's going to be fine, you don't need to get upset, and then bring them right back down. So an example would be when you take your horse off property, maybe to a horse show or something, and a horse gets loose. Things can get a little chaotic, a little bit, a little crazy, and your horse might get a little bit anxious. So we want to know that when stuff like that happens, it's okay for our horses to get a little bit nervous and upset, but they have to be able to bring that energy right back down. And you also have to learn how to not hold that anxiousness with you. Like I said, go back to your breathing and make sure that you're not feeding into that energy and you're trying to stay very passive, very quiet. So hopefully this helps you start working on your body language and kind of building that clear communication with your horse. And if you have any other questions, feel free to let me know, and thanks for watching.